Two different types of sequences. The first one is called an arithmetic sequence. So let's look at this at the top. Do you have this at the top or did I take it off? All right, so what do you think the sequence is? What number am I adding to get to the next term? So we start with 7, and then it goes to 9.5, 12, 14.5. So what number am I adding over and over again? 2.5. So what would be my next 4 numbers? So what's 14.5 plus 2.5? 17. 17 plus 2.5. 19.5. 19.5 plus 2.5. 22. And 22 plus 2.5. Okay. So we kind of talked about this a little bit before break. But whenever you are adding, if the difference is always the same number, we call that an arithmetic sequence. So at the bottom, the sequence is arithmetic. So, and some people say arithmetic. And I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Like half of the math teachers say arithmetic and some say arithmetic because it's a sequence. Whatever. We can call it whatever we want to. All right, so here are the formulas that we need to know for this type of sequence. Okay, so first of all, this is how you're going to write a rule. Whenever you see T sub n, that means I want the rule. This is the rule. So whenever you're writing the rule, we need to know T1, and T1 is the first term. And the second thing we need to know is D, which is our common difference. So if I look at the sequence we started off with, the first term was 7, and the common difference would be 2.5. And then N would be the term number. So I'll give you a moment to fill that in, and then we'll do practice. Yes, I just got the packet. Okay, Jalen, I have a pass for you. Ooh, here you go. Okay, so we are crossing off the first one, and let's just go to the second one. So let's write a rule for this sequence. Okay, what is the first number in this sequence? -12. So that means that I'm going to start off my rule with T sub n equals, and then the first number is -12. Plus, all right, what is the common difference? So don't say it out loud. I want everybody to get a chance to think because, you know, everybody takes a little bit different amount of time to figure out stuff. But we need to figure out what number we're adding to get to the next number. It's the same number. So -12 plus what gives you -3? Then -3 plus what gives you 6? And then 6 plus what gives you 15? So I'll give you a moment to see if you can figure out what the number is. What number are we adding over and over again? Just give me a thumbs up when you figure out the number. Lynette, you need a calculator?
Oh, no, I got it.
You got one? Okay. You probably need one. All right, just give me a thumbs up when you know the number. We got about 5 people that know the number. Okay, what's the number? 9. So the common difference is 9. And then parentheses n minus 1. This is my general rule. So now that I have this rule, because they gave us the first 4 numbers, now that I have the rule, I can figure out what the 17th number would be. And to figure out the 17th number, that means that n would equal 17. So let's go ahead and figure out T17. So T17 would equal negative 12 plus 9, parentheses, 17 minus 1. So go ahead and just type this in your calculator. So it's basically negative 12 plus 9 times 16. I should probably get my calculator because I didn't work out the answers. Or I did, but I don't have to. So who got 132? All right, so what that means is that if I start at negative 12 and I keep adding 9, the 17th number will be 132. Okay. Part C is saying eventually we're going to get to 267. What would be the term? So notice that this says T sub n is 267. So I'm still using this rule right here. Still using this rule, except now I'm going to put my 267 here and solve it for n. So we have 267, and that equals negative 12 plus 9, parentheses, n minus 1. Go ahead and solve that. I'm going to freeze my screen and solve it because this is just solving, so we should know how to solve. And we'll see if we get the same answer. And the reason why I'm skipping questions is because, again, we have to finish this by Tuesday. And then we have our quest. So some questions we just don't have time to do. All right. You ain't the only one that did that, I'm sure. All right. So, again, you cannot add these together. Why can't I add these together? Anybody know? Why can't I start off by adding negative 12 plus 9? Yeah, see, this is being multiplied, right? We always have to do order of operations. So, the first thing you have to do is distribute the 9. You cannot start off by adding these together. That's like a big no-no. You should get n equals 32. So I'll give you a moment to. That's okay. We haven't done this in a minute, but that's a huge no-no. Cannot do that. So what this is saying is if I start at negative 12 and I keep adding 9, the 32nd number in the list will be 267. All right, any questions about that? So I distribute it, and then I combine my like terms, which would be the negative 12 and the negative 9. That's how I got negative 21. Then I added the 21, got 288, divided by 9, got 32. All right, let's look at the next page. Let's look at question number 3. So this is an arithmetic sequence, okay? Anytime it's arithmetic or arithmetic, this is a linear sequence. This is linear. So because it's linear, you can also write it in slope-intercept form. Now, when it's in slope-intercept form, M is your common difference. And B is your first term. So when you look at this, do you notice how we have, it's already written in slope-intercept form. So looking at part A, what is my common difference? The common difference is what? So it says find the common difference and list the first 4 terms. So the common difference is what? What's the slope of this linear equation? 2. All right, the slope is always the number in front of the variable. Now let's go ahead and list, which means I'm adding 2. So if it's 2, that means that in this sequence, we're adding 2 because it's positive. So the first number in my sequence is negative 5. So it only asks for the first 4 numbers. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to start off at negative 5 and then keep adding 2 to get the next 3 numbers. So you're going to add the 2. That'll give you negative 3. Then you're going to add 2. That'll give you negative 1. And then you're going to add the 2. And that gives you what? What's my last number? 1. So that would be my first 4 numbers. Now, B is rearranged, right? It's rearranged, but the common difference or the slope is still negative 3. So the common difference in this one is negative 3. So now the numbers are going down. So negative 3, you know, whenever you add a negative, that's the same as subtracting. So let's list our first 4 numbers. What would be the first number? What's my y-intercept? 7. All right, go ahead and subtract 3 to get the next 3 numbers. Now the numbers are getting smaller. So you subtract 3, you get 7 minus 3 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1, and 1 minus 3 is negative 2. And this is how your homework, this is how it's asked on the in the homework. So, all right, any questions so far? We're just going to work with this formula today. And then tomorrow we're going to move on to the next set of formulas for arithmetic. All right, so now let's look at 4. Now, this is always the tricky question on the quest because it says write the rule. And what are the 2 things that you need in order to write a rule? Let's go back to the first page. What 2 things do we need to write a rule? We need to know the first number and the common difference. We have to know those 2 things. The first number and the common difference. So when I go back and I look at this question, notice that they didn't give me the first number. What number did they give us? This number is the 15th number. All right, so the big mistake is that students will just say, okay, the rule is starting at 2, but we didn't start at 2. The 15th number is 2. So in our rule, let's go ahead and write our rule. T sub n equals T1 plus D parentheses n minus 1. We know T15 is 2, which means n is, and that means n is 15. So this is the term number. So the 15th number is 2. So to solve this, I'm going to write 2 equals, then it'll be T sub 1 plus, and then my common difference, then my common difference is what? What did they tell me the common difference was? Negative 4, parentheses, n minus 1. So the first thing I need for you to do is figure out what this number is right here. What is negative 4 times 15 minus 1? You okay over there, Jamie? You over there just, everything okay? Okay. So we got negative 4 times 14, which is negative 56. So what am I going to do to solve this for T1? I got to solve for, I need to get this by itself. I'm going to add the 56. What'd you get? Oh, so you distributed it? Well, you could do that, but I just subtracted this to get 14, and then I multiplied it by negative 4. But the way you did it, if you distributed the negative 4, then you would take negative 16 minus negative 4, which would become, that's kind of complicated. So what I would do in this example, because we know it's 15 minus 1, I would simplify that to 14. And then multiply the 14 times negative 4. So what do we get for our first number? What's 2 plus 56? 58. So now I know that T1 is 58. And I already know my common difference is negative 4, so I can write the rule. So the rule would be T sub n equals 58 plus negative 4 times n minus 1. And yes, you can put a minus 4 instead of plus a negative. So this sequence is starting at 58 and it's going down. The first number is 58. So now that we have this, we can find the 5th number. And then the 5th number, n, would equal 5. So I want you to use that rule to find T5. So T5 is going to equal negative 58 plus negative 4, parentheses, and then it's a 5 minus 1. So again, what I think you should do, because we're going to just do order of operations, figure out what this is first, and then go from there. So you have negative 58 plus negative 4 times 4. Go ahead and see what you get. Yes. Why is what negative? Why is it negative? It's not negative. It's positive. Thank you. I got one person paying attention. It's not negative. It's positive. Positive 58. All right, go ahead and see what you get. So you got 58 plus negative 4 times 4. Was it hard for you all to wake up today? I know. When that alarm went off, I was like, it's no way. I just went to sleep. It did, didn't it? Man. Whew. Toby, what you get for T5? You substituted in yet? Aaliyah, what you get?
I got 42.
42. Anybody else get 42? McCary, did you get 42? All right. So that means that the fifth term, so this T5 means the fifth number is 42. All right, so now that we've done number 4, I want you to do number 5. Number 5 is very similar to number 4. In question number 5, in question number 5, they tell us the 7th number. But we need to know the first number. So I'm going to go ahead and write the rule up here. And all they want us to do is write a rule. And in order to write a rule, we need to know the first number and we need to know the common difference. They did tell us the common difference, but they did not give us the first number. So what are you going to put for T sub n? 79. And then the common difference is what? And what's n? What's n? 7. Because the 7th number is 79. So n is 7. So T sub n is 79. The common difference is 13. And then we have parentheses 7 minus 1. So what I would do, I would not distribute that 13. That's doing a little bit too much. Let's just make it simple. I mean, let's just figure out what 7 minus 1 is. And then we'll multiply and then we'll subtract. So go ahead and find it. I gotta find my key. Anybody want to volunteer what they got for the first number? Justice? 21? Anybody else get 21? Anybody get something different? What you get, Glennette? 1? Anybody else get 1? I got 1.
Oh.
It's okay. It's fine. Did you add them? What'd you do? You added 13 and 6?
No. I didn't multiply. I was just off by 20.
Oh.
I was somehow counting up and
It's okay. All right, so now we know T1, so we can write our rule. So our rule would be, again, whenever we write a rule, we're just putting in these two numbers. So my rule would be T sub n equals 1 plus 13 n minus 1. This is the rule. Once you have a rule, you can jump ahead. Like if I ask you what the 130th number would be, you could tell me what it is. All right, let's look at number 6. Number 6 says, find the 100th number. So they gave us the list, and they want us to find the 100th number. So we know our T1. What's the first number in the list that they gave us? 2. Don't say it out loud, but see if you can figure out what the common difference is. This is pretty easy common difference. What we get for the common difference? We went 2, 4, 6. What number are we adding? 2. All right, so my rule would be T sub n equals the first number plus the common difference times n minus 1. Now, I've taught this class for like 18 years, but I will tell you, there are people who can't figure this out, and they will just keep adding 2 97 more times. And if that's what you want to do, I can't hold you, okay? But that's a lot of work. I would just learn the rule. So to find the 100th term, where am I going to put the 100? Is the 100 T sub n, or is there 100 just n? It's just n. So to find the 100th term, it would be 2 plus 2, parentheses, 100 minus 1. Go ahead and type that in your calculators. Okay, this is dangerous. I'm trying to do this without a calculator. You know, my brain hasn't done math, though, in over 7 days. So, well, actually, I'm lying. I did tutor. I tutored over break. One of my old students called me up. I did tutor. I did some one day, but that was just one day. All right, anybody else get 200? All right, I want you to try to do number 7 by yourself. For number 7, it's asking us to find the 80th number. Now, we got decimals, though, or fractions. We got some fractions. So you can feel free to convert this to a decimal if you want to. But what would be your, we know our first number is 2. So T1 is 2. What are we adding over and over again? 0.5. Because 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So both of these numbers, if you write them as a fraction, 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. So my common difference is simply 0.5. So when I write my rule, it would be 2 plus 0.5 n minus 1. So go ahead and use that rule to find the 80th number. And I got 41.5. Who got 41.5? Oops. I didn't even write what that would be. What's half of 79? Wait. 79 divided by 2. Yeah, 39.5. So let me fix this. Hold on. So that would be 39.5. So then that would be 41.5. Bonus if you can write this as a fraction over 2. What would this be as a fraction? What number over 2 is 41.5? Would you, 88? 83, yeah. So that would be the better way to write it because our sequence is written as fractions, but I'm not picky, not as picky as I probably should be. All right, so now we're going to do some systems of equations. We haven't done this at all this semester. And then we will be done there. All right, so we know they didn't tell us the first number or the common difference. We have to find them both. So what they did tell me that the 9th number is -5, which means that if I were to write this as a system, it would be -5 equals T1 plus D, and then this would be, it's the 9th number, so that would be 9 minus 1. Let's go ahead and simplify this down a little bit though, so it's not as ugly. So that means we have -5 equals T1 plus, and what's 9 minus 1? 8D. So that would be that equation. Let's do the same thing for the second clue they gave us. Is that the 15th number is 31. So how would I write that? 31 equals what? T1 plus D, and what's in the parentheses? 15 minus 1. Which means that would be written as 31 equals T1 plus 14D. So this will be my system of equations. And we have to solve it. So I'm going to go ahead and stack them over here. So I have -5 equals T1 plus 8D. And then I have 31 equals T1 plus 14D. So the easiest variable to eliminate would be T1. So I don't know if you all remember elimination. Remember elimination? In order for it to eliminate, these have to be opposite signs. Now I could try to eliminate D, but if I did that, I would have to multiply this by -14 and this by +8. That's a lot. The easiest way is just to flip the sign for one of these. So what I'm going to do is multiply this equation by -1, which is going to give me a 5 equals -T1 minus 8D. So now when I add them together, this eliminates. So first we're going to solve for the common difference, and then we'll go back and solve for the first term. So what's 31 plus 5 would be what? 36 equals 14 minus 8, which is 6D. Go ahead, divide both sides by 6. So what would be my common difference? Common difference is 6. Now it's up to you to decide which one of these you want to use to find the first term. I'm going to go with the green one though. No reason why though. So I'm going to use this one over here to solve for the first term. So that would be 31 equals T1 plus 14. And now I know that my common difference is 6. So 31 equals T1 plus, go ahead, take 14 times 6. And you get 84. And what's my last step? Subtract the 84. All right, I want you all to do question B on your own, and I'm going to work it out and show the answers at the end. But, oh wait, let's finish this real quick though. So 31 minus 84 would be what? So the first number is -53. So when I write my rule, here's the answer because they want us to write a rule. Here's my rule. The rule would be T sub n equals the first number plus the common difference, which is 6, parentheses, n minus 1. This is the answer. All right, I'm going to give you a moment to do part B on your own, and I'm just going to show the answer at the end. So set it up just the same way. You got to write 2 equations, eliminate, and solve for both.